Dire team ban.
Alright, welcome everyone to NizCast. I, of course, am your host, Niz, and we're casting the Semi-Pro Cup Series.
Radiant team ban.
And it's the last Sunday of the month. That means we got $100 on the line to the winner. But we've got a couple best of ones to get through before we get to the grand finals and crown our $100 champion. Of course, we're starting off in the quarterfinals like we do every week.
Remaining.
And we've got a pretty good matchup to start everything off. I'm looking forward to this one. We have Stratos Gaming on the Dire side, and they're going to be going up against... Oh god, I can never remember these names. It's PMGab the Slayer? PMGab the Slayer. Close enough, close enough. But yeah, so that's who we've got going up here, and if you take a look at some of the names in this game, you'll definitely recognize some of them. Of course, the legendary BSJ, Banana Slam Jam, is going to be playing for Stratos Gaming. He's streaming right now, so if you want to take a look at his player perspective of the game, you can go check that out as well. And then, of course, on the other side, they're playing by Mr. Roboto.
10 seconds remaining.
So I don't know why I just broke into song, but I just did. That's going to be PMGab the Slayer, but of course we recognize Soulfu, Static, Frugos. We've seen these guys a million times on the stream before. Louis Simon we've seen before. Dreams, I actually can't remember seeing Dreams before, but I'm sure I have. I recognize the name. So I can't remember who he played for most recently that we cast, but we've seen all these players on here before. And of course on Stratos Gaming, BSJ isn't of course the only one. We've seen Lokarn and many of these players before. So we've got two pretty stacked teams right now, and it'll be interesting to see who comes out on top on this one. As for our bans and our picks, let's get caught right back up. We've got Alchemist and Broodmother banned out by Stratos Gaming. Queen of Pain and Doom both removed by PMGab the Slayer. Then we had Ember Spirit and Venomancer getting picked up. Earthshaker and Dazzle were the two picks to follow. Then the next set of bans, Shadow Fiend and Windrunner, two heroes that are getting played so much recently. And Tusk and Magnus. Magnus, a hero that we're starting to see a little bit more of again. That hero's kind of come and gone a few times in the meta, but apparently he's back. So he's going to get banned out this game. We're not going to see him. But what do we got so far? We've got Earthshaker and Dazzle for the Radiant side. Could very well be two supports. Of course, the Earthshaker could be in the off lane, but that's kind of fallen out of favor. In fact, picking Earthshaker has fallen out of favor. So it's interesting to see that someone finally picking up Earthshaker. We haven't seen it in quite some time in at least the games I've been casting. We've seen it a little bit in Pro, but for the most part, it's kind of, like I said, fallen out of favor. But we're going to see him come back in this game. I think a lot of that has to do with just the fact that it costs maybe a little bit more. It's a little bit harder for those support heroes to get the Blink Dagger. Of course, the cost of Blink Dagger hasn't changed, but because of the game and how it goes, it just takes a little bit longer for some of these support heroes to get their Blink Dagger. But honestly, I think it's inconsequential. But, you know, the heroes come and gone in the meta. I don't understand it. I can't explain it to you. So we are going to see him this game, though. So that'll be good and fun and interesting. And we're going to see a Templar Assassin in the mid lane. Interesting to see that they pick up the Templar Assassin, seeing that they're already going up against an Ember Spirit and a Venomancer. Ember Spirit's, whatever that thing's called, the third ability is Shield Flame Guard. Can never remember that one. It burns through refraction quite easily, but also if they choose to put the Venomancer in the mid lane, that's another hero that just tears through TA's refraction and really gives her a super hard time in the mid lane. But we don't even know that the Templar Assassin is mid. We know that majority of the time she is played in the mid lane, but that doesn't mean that she's going to be played in the mid lane this game. So she could very well be running the safe lane. Ooh, we got an Undying now for Stratos Gaming. Are we going to see a dual lane in the off lane? Are we just going to see them even go for a tri lane? Probably not, but probably just going to go for the 2-1-2 setup for Stratos Gaming. That's an interesting pick going up against the Earthshaker.
10 seconds.
But we'll see. Undying, incredibly strong right now. Ever since they buffed him so that his Aghanim Scepter boosts decay.
Legion Commander.
To give 10 strength instead of 4, ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And Legion Commander. Alright. Alright, so it's not going to be an Earthshaker offlane, or if it is, it's going to be incredibly greedy because that means they're putting the LC in the jungle, but it looks like it is just going to be an LC offlane. Earthshaker and Dazzle are going to be your support duos. Templar Assassin, we don't know where. Most likely in the mid lane, but could very well be safe lane. And now we've got a Slark on Stratos Gaming side, so that's going to be their safe laner. Ember Spirit looks like he's going to be in the mid lane. Undying, guessing in the off lane. Venomancer, probably going to be in the safe lane. That's going to be a great hero to harass back that Legion Commander. And then we're just going to be waiting on the offlaner to complement the Undying. And that should be it for Stratos Gaming. As for the Radiant side, Mr. Roboto, aka PMGab the Slayer, we're going to be looking for the safe lane carry for them. Now we're on to our final bans here. Both teams got about a minute left in time, so they can sit back and make sure they make a good decision here. Slardar is going to be the offlaner that they choose to remove.
Team ban.
And what is Stratos Gaming going to choose to remove here? There's a lot of safe lane carries still left in the pool. It's worth mentioning that if
10 seconds remaining.
Ideally, you want it to be something ranged, because it's going to have to deal with the Undying Tombstone. Gyrocopter is going to be #1 on that list, but they're not going to let that through. Gyrocopter, of course, probably one of the best carries in the game to go up against an Undying, because you can just right-click the... well, you can just flack while the Tombstone's up. You get a lot of gold, and you're still hitting everyone. You're still hitting the Tombstone. You're still bringing that down. It's just really good. But we're not going to see Gyrocopter. He gets removed. And now, well, ball's in their court. What are they going to choose to go with? I don't know.
5 seconds remaining.
I really don't know. And I just realized Silphu's going to be drafting here. I've seen Static draft a lot recently. But I can't remember if Silphu was drafting the last couple times we saw them play. Even though they weren't playing with Static. I can't remember. I think he was, but... not sure. Well, they got 20 seconds left, and then we get to find out what they're going to go with. I guess it is worth noting that they could potentially put the Legion Commander in the safe lane, or Legion Commander mid, Templar Assassin safe lane, or Templar Assassin safe lane. Legion Commander still off lane and go with a mid hero. They're going to go with a Ricky.
Team pick.
Okay. That hero was not on my radar, but it is a hero that is very strong against both Ember Spirit and Slark. Or at least, it's strong in your ability to gank them, because that hero can come out of Invis, throw down the cloud. Ember Spirit can jump back to a Remnant. Slark.
10 seconds.
All of a sudden sneeze. I don't think I was able to mute my mic in time. Oh, Jesus. But Slark, of course, can't pounce away. He won't be able to open with
reserve time.
His Dark Pack to be able to clear any kind of slow or stun or whatever that you're going to open with. He also won't be able to jump into Shadow Dance until he's able to get out of that cloud. That silence, very, very strong against both those heroes. And it's going to force them to get something to help get them out of that cloud. Of course, Ricky typically picks up a Diffusal Blade to help slow them down, make sure they don't get out of that cloud. And what's interesting to note there is that with the change to Diffusal Blade and having no cooldown on the ability to use the Purge, you're able to keep people locked down in that cloud for a little bit longer than you were before. Of course, you will be burning through charges a lot quicker if you play it like that. But
5 seconds remaining.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they choose to play the Ricky. Most recently, I've seen the Ricky played as kind of like a roamer, moving around. But well, like I said, we'll have to see how they choose to use it. Vengeful Spirit's going to be the final pickup for Stratos Gaming, so it is going to be a core Venomancer. It looks like. I guess it could be a core Undying. I'm not exactly sure how who's playing what in terms of roles and stuff for Stratos Gaming. But both could very viable cores. But I'm guessing Huh. I really don't like Vengeful Spirit to stay at home and kind of zone out a Legion Commander. I think Venomancer is going to be better suited to that, but I don't like the Vengeful Spirit in the offlane with the Undying either.
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
I don't know how they're going to choose to lane this, but I am pretty sure that the Undying is going to be in the offlane. Just which support is going to be with them remains to be seen. But it wouldn't be a competitive game without a pause immediately. Sorry, Reddy, it looks like everyone on the Radiant side is good to go. Wait, they're not. They're just playing with us. Thanks for the bless you in chat, guys. About last night, I don't know, maybe about 5 or 6 o'clock at night, I all of a sudden started becoming sick again. If you guys follow me at all, coming back, well, the Saturday for ESL, I started feeling sick. The Sunday, I was pretty damn sick. And by the time I got home, I was very sick. And I was sick for 2 weeks following ESL. And I was actually lucky that SCS didn't have any tournaments, so I didn't have to cast while sick. But yeah, even the first SCS tournament following ESL, I was still kind of sick and I was still kind of rebounding. But unfortunately, I'm not sick right now, but just a little congested, so that kind of sucks. But hopefully I'll be alright to get through this. You guys can probably tell my voice is a little different right now. But let's introduce the teams and the players. Stop complaining about me and how I feel, as we've got some dodo to cover here. On the Radiant side, they are PMGab the Slayer in the brackets, but they're going by Mr. Roboto. It's weird to say it like that. Roboto. Whatever. They're going to be on the Radiant side. We've got Soulfu. He's going to be taking control of that. Ricky Maru. We got Louis Simon playing the Dazzle. Static is going to be playing the Earthshaker. Frugos, he's going to be playing the Legion Commander. And Dreams is going to be playing the Templar Assassin. As for our Dire side, it's going to be Stratos Gaming for them. Venomancer going to be played by Frozen, but I'll wait for Runes here because Ricky's doing a little bit of scouting job up here. But it looks like they're all going to back away, so everything should be normal. But we've got Frozen playing the Venomancer, the Banana King. We have Banana Slam Jamma playing the Slark. He is, like I said earlier, he's streaming, so you can check out his point of view from this if you choose to. We've got Slayer playing the Ember Spirit. Huron Mark is going to be playing the Vengeful Spirit, and Lokarn is going to be playing the Undying. Some pings coming out already in the mid lane, as both teams adapting to the lanes that are getting shown to them. I'll quickly look at this. In the bottom lane, we do have Undying offlane going up against Ricky, so they are technically the two offlaners. In the mid lane, it's going to be the TA against Ember, and that means a tri lane. Tri v tri in the top lane is Banana Slam Jam. It takes a little bit of damage as the Radiant side opened with the Fissure. Frugos was able to bring him down a little bit, but BSJ able to pounce away, and he brought a lot of regen to this. 2 sets of tangos and a salve, so he's going to be able to stick around for quite some time. And immediately on the mini-map, we had Huron Mark drawing to indicate where him and this Venomancer are going, and they're going to smoke immediately, try to make a move towards the mid. Static, I thought he was going to come over and potentially pop any kind of smoke gank, but no, he's just going to try to wrap around, put some pressure on Banana Slam Jamma. And they know immediately. They know the supports are not here. They're going to try to go for the dive on Banana Slam Jamma, but he's able to back away and get safely behind the tower. And that means we got to take a look on the mid lane as Dreams in a pretty good position right now against Slayer, forcing him to burn through his healing salve already a minute and a half into this lane. But Dreams knows exactly what's up. He knows the supports have to be here, because they've left top, and oh no, I think he's overextended. He's pushed out a little too far. They'll open with the Gale, Frozen, and with the right clicks in, they'll be able to finish off Dreams. There was a TP coming in from Static. He was able to get the Fissure off, but not in time to save the Templar Assassin in the mid lane, and first blood will go to Stratos Gaming. Take a quick look in our bottom lane, see how things are going down here. Looks like Lokarn is getting the upper hand in this lane. He's sitting at 7 and 3 CS, whereas Sulfu, sorry, is sitting at 5 and 2. So slight advantage going for the Undying, and the supports now making their way to the bottom, trying to help out Lokarn. As are we just going to see these two supports constantly roaming around? They do have 3 heroes, 3 cores that you can pretty much just leave alone and let them do whatever the heck they want in the lane. There is 2 sets of detection for Frozen here. We'll drop the sentry. Sulfu will just TP away. Huron Mark not able to get in range for that. So a good play there. We did have a TP coming in from the Dazzle to help out the Riki, but Riki TPing all the way back to his fountain, so he's going to be safe. We do also have, well, I mean, we expected the Legion Commander to be offlane solo to begin with, so you can leave him here. But the question is, how is he going to fare against the Slark? Frankly, I think Slark wins this pretty easily, so you don't really want to leave your Legion Commander alone. But you do have to respect the fact that the support on this Dire side are going to be moving around. They are going to try to put a lot of pressure on these lanes, and you are going to have to adapt and help out your lanes. Frozen sitting up here on the high ground. He's not going to be able to initiate from that range, but it is giving a little bit of vision. But he's sitting right on top of an observer ward for the Radiant side. Banana Slam Gem, forced to pounce away. They chose not to open on them. I think they realized that they weren't going to be able to kill him, so no sense burning through the mana. But there's no regen left. I mentioned how much regen Banana Slam Gem was starting off in this lane. 2 sets of tangos and a healing salve. He's already burned through all of it in 4 minutes. Top rune's going to be an illusion. So they'll just let the Ember Spirit come and bottle that up. As the supports start making their way towards bottom. That rotation from the Venomancer, not spotted by the mid lane, but once again, this Observer Ward spotting that out, so they know exactly where he's going. He's just going to go pick up the Bounty Rune. And more importantly, they need to know where both these heroes are, and they can see the Vengeful Spirit, so they should be perfectly fine. The Venomancer isn't really that scary. All of a sudden he comes out of the trees and suddenly in a Venomancer. Yes, Gale slow is ridiculous, but at the same time, you've got to be in a pretty compromising position for Gale to really mess you up. But interesting TP here coming out from Lokarn as he's going to come up into the top lane and start harassing some people back in the mid lane. Dreams once again getting picked off by the Vengeful Spirit. Looks like we had Searing Chains and Flame Guard just burning through that refraction. And of course the Searing Chains locking him down long enough for the Vengeful Spirit to be able to get in there and get a stun off. Sulfu just going and buying some stuff at the secret shop, or at the side shop, excuse me, as Sentry Ward spotting him out there. Frozen able to get some right clicks on. It's interesting that they are just going to leave Frozen down here by himself on the Venomancer. But I guess they've determined that he's going to be doing perfectly fine against the Riki. This is a way for them to get a little bit more. Oh, Dream's getting caught out again. It's been a rough game for the Templar Assassin as Stratos Gaming start off 3-0, and all 3 of those kills have been on the Templar Assassin. TA is going to be forced to TP away. His Tombstone was dropped, and I believe he had a couple decay stacks on him. There we go, that's there. Nope, no decay stacks, or at least they've dropped off if there were any on him. Huron Mark looking to come in from behind. Banana Slam Gem and Lokarn are going to be here as well. Frugos is going to go down. Yes, he will get the horn off. There was a stun coming up from Static, but Frugos just not able to survive that initial burst. Gonna have Slayer come in. Once again, another Searing Chains. Locks another hero down, and that's another kill for him. As Static goes down, now Sulfu. He comes up here, and he goes down as well. As 6-0 lead for Stratos Gaming. Picking off these heroes left, right, and center. As well, it's going to be a rough game for the Radiant side. They've lost this laning phase pretty hard, but that doesn't mean it's over. They will be able to get back in this game with a little bit of well, good rotations, maybe a pick off or two. Let's quickly go through our lanes. Obviously, the mid lane, we have a CS advantage for the Ember Spirit, 30-3 versus the TA's 25-12. But TA has died 3 times as well. On top of that, Ember Spirit made the rotation top. And now we're going to see the TA go down again. 4 deaths for Dream.
Tower is under attack.
That's not a Dream start. I'll tell you that much for a Templar Assassin. That is anything but a Dream start. As for our 2 offlaners, it's going to be a little hard to compare the 2, but we will compare the Undying and the Riki. Both sitting at, well, pretty comparable CS, 26 and 7 on the Riki, whereas the Undying sitting at 24 and 9. But it's been a little while since the Undying has left bottom lane, so Riki's been able to get a little bit more farm. The Undying pretty much won that lane and was able to get at least more CS. And now he's able to move around his Dreams. Oh my goodness, he's going down again. Well, one of the very important things to learn as a mid laner, and certainly he knows this, but it's important that when things are not going well in your mid lane, it's important not necessarily to win the lane, but just to not lose the lane. You can't get completely smashed and put yourself out of the game by just coming back and trying to fight your way back in. You just got to kind of play safe, stop the bleeding. But they haven't been able to do so, and you know, credit has to go out to Stratos Gaming. They have not let up on this TA. They got that little advantage. Started with that initial gank, the smoke gank coming up from Frozen, and here on Mark. And it was said in chat, I said it as well, it should have been noticed. They should have known that gank was coming. Unfortunately, Dreams did get caught out, and ever since then it's just kind of been snowballing, as Stratos Gaming just kind of been rolling with the punches. And, well, Dreams struggling to get himself back in this game. Well, we're going to start seeing a little bit of this early game power coming out from Stratos Gaming. They start putting some pressure on some tower. Respect the fact that they've got 4 points in Tombstone already. That makes it very, very hard to bring down. They're going to have a mech soon. Well, it might be a little bit longer as Lokarn's starting to take some damage, but here on Mark's there with the sun, but Sulfu will blink strike out of this cloud, and there we go. First kill on the board for Mr. Roboto. As they bring down Lokar on the Undying, they're going to look for a second. Slayer was the target, but he's able to get back. Dreams, oh no, he's maybe overextended. He's getting hit by the tower. But he's got a lot of teammates with him, so he'll be alright. As it took 5 heroes gathering in the mid lane for this Radiant side to stop the push on the tier 1 and get that kill. Whereas 2 cores, or 2 heroes I should say, not 2 cores, 2 heroes for the Dire side. We're still sitting in the lanes. We had Banana Slam Jam on the Slark sitting up in the top lane and Frozen sitting farming up on the Banana Mancer in the bottom lane. We're going to see, I think we're going to see a lot of towers go down very, very shortly coming out from this Dire side, as they are just going to keep pushing and not really give any space for this Radiant side to get themselves back in the game, more particularly the Templar Assassin. TP coming in from the Dazzle, as it's just him and the Riki down here, so he's just going to have to back immediately after. And oh boy, they just took a tower. They weren't forced to use Tombstone. That means they're just probably just going to keep marching down the bottom lane, start putting some damage on this tier 2. They might actually rotate away, but I mean, how many levels do we got on this Venomancer? We've got 4 points in the wards, so I mean, what more do you want? That was definitely a mistake, as Frozen pops the ultimate there on the Venomancer, who doesn't have much mana typically to deal with anyways. He does have, there is the mana boots, the arcane boots up on Lokarn, so his mana situation isn't as bad as it would be, as had he just popped that accidentally by himself with just treads. But they will still be able to push here just by spamming wards, and the other heroes have actually rotated away, so it's just going to be the 2 of them. In fact, Lokarn rotating away, so it isn't going to be a harder push on the tier 2. They want to come back and defend their tier 1 tower in the mid lane. They've got the advantage. They don't want to give up an easy tower. They don't want to give them the trade, the 1-for-1 tower, even though it's a tier 2 for a tier 1. We're going to have our first duel of the game as Frugos gets the duel off on Slayer, but there won't be a winner. In fact, Frugos is going to be the one who's going to go down. Sulfu, Static, Dreams, 4 heroes dead for the Radiant side. GG called out 12 minutes into this game as they quickly realized that this one is snowballing out of control. It's just... how do you stop it? How do you stop it? Stratos Gaming just came out of that laning phase. It's such a good situation. Well, our first game of the night was significantly quicker, shorter, whatever you want to call it, than expected. Because my goodness, Lokarn feeding for Stratos Gaming with the 2-1 and 6 score on Undying. Everyone else on his team, not a single death. So Lokarn, you got to step up your game, brother. Shots fired. No, actually, everyone on Stratos Gaming played incredibly well, and you know, props to Frozen and here on Mark. They made some really good rotations, and you know what? Dreams, unfortunately, like that first kill, he really just need to know. Like, I don't know. They obviously their top lane, their aggressive tri lane knew it was up. They started putting pressure, kind of diving past the tower on that Slark. They didn't want to go too deep because it was so early into the game. And Slark, once he's able to get up in those trees above the dire side tier 1, he can just easily pounce into the trees and you have no way to see him. So they couldn't dive too deep for him, but if they're making that play, if they're going that deep on the tower, they know that the supports have already gone. And certainly they knew that by the way Static kind of rotated around the trees towards the bottom. They knew that the supports weren't off to the side, so they knew there was some kind of rotation. And Dreams is kind of pushed out a little bit far. He got punished for it. But certainly that one kill isn't the whole reason that this Radiant side lost. But it did start the ball rolling for Stratos Gaming, and that allowed the supports to kind of move around. And the Undying in the bottom lane actually did a good job off the start. He got the ball rolling for himself, and then he was able to rotate away, give that space for the Venomancer. He's able to catch up, get some levels and wards, and yeah, then it's just very, very difficult for them to fight into. But props to Stratos Gaming as they'll take our first game of the night and they'll advance to the semifinals. Not sure if we've got a game waiting for us just yet. We'll take a quick look at the brackets. Nope, not yet. We've got, so they will advance to the semifinals. Our other semifinals has already started. It's going to be Goons and Cowchain 2G. I remember how to say it from last week. But so those two teams will be going up against each other. And Stratos Gaming will be playing the winner of FNMDX, a team that we've seen probably over a month ago now on this stream. We've seen them play before. And they're going up against Qilongqua's Disciples, which they've been in the last couple tournaments, but haven't got to cast them. So the winner of that match will play up against Stratos Gaming. So as soon as that game finishes and we have our next match, we'll cast that. But until then, I'm going to throw it to some music, so enjoy some Approaching Nirvana, and we'll be back in just a few minutes.